The sniper's red dot danced across Ethan Sterling's chest through the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse office. At 32, the CEO of Sterling Enterprises had made too many enemies to count. "Sir, your 9 a.m. is here," Jasper announced. Ethan's instinct kicked in. He dropped to the floor just as the window shattered. The bullet meant for his heart embedded itself in his leather chair. "Get down," he commanded. But the door was already opening. Serena Autumn stepped in, her amber eyes widening at the chaos. Without hesitation, she dove behind the desk as another shot rang out. "Welcome to Sterling Enterprises," Ethan said dryly, pulling her deeper into cover. "I assume you're here about the Thompson merger." "Among other things," she replied, surprisingly calm. Her hand moved to her briefcase, and Ethan caught a glimpse of metal. "You're armed?" "I investigate financial crimes, Mr. Sterling. The Thompsons have killed before." Their eyes met, gray steel against golden amber. In that moment of danger, something electric passed between them. 3 weeks earlier, Serena had received an encrypted message. "The Frost Emperor must fall. $1 million upon completion." Now, crouched beside him as security swarmed the office, she realized her fatal mistake. The cold, ruthless CEO she'd been hired to destroy was nothing like the man protecting her with his own body. "We need to move," Ethan commanded, leading her to a hidden elevator. "My safe house. Now." In the speeding car, Serena's handler called. She declined, knowing it would blow her cover. "Problem?" Ethan asked, noticing her tension. "The Thompsons know I'm here. They'll try to kill us both now." It wasn't entirely a lie. At his safe house, a penthouse unknown to the public, Ethan poured whiskey with steady hands. "Why did you really come to Sterling Enterprises?" Serena's heart raced. "To expose the truth about the merger. But there's something else." She pulled out the assassination contract with her name on it. "They hired me to kill you first." Ethan studied the document, then her face. "But you didn't." "I couldn't." Her voice broke. "The moment I saw you, everything changed." "Because you realized I'm not the monster they painted?" "Because I realized I was." Ethan set down his glass, his expression unreadable. The Frost Emperor facade was crumbling, replaced by something far more dangerous: vulnerability. "You came to kill me? And I'm supposed to trust you?" "I'm the only one who knows their entire plan," Serena said urgently. "The merger is just the beginning. They're planning to destroy your entire empire, piece by piece, and there's a mole in your company." "Who?" Before she could answer, the lights cut out. Red laser dots painted the walls. "They found us," Ethan growled, pulling her down as windows shattered. In the darkness, Serena made a choice. She pulled out her gun and returned fire, protecting the man she'd been hired to kill. "This way." Ethan led her through a hidden passage, their hands clasped tight. They emerged in an underground garage. As they reached his motorcycle, Serena's phone buzzed. Her handler's message was clear. "Complete the mission, or your grandmother dies." "Get on," Ethan commanded. She climbed behind him, wrapping her arms around his waist. As they roared into the night, she whispered, "I'm sorry." "For what?" "For what I have to do." But instead of attacking, she held him tighter. "They have my grandmother. If I don't kill you—" "We'll save her," Ethan said firmly. "Together." In another safe house, Ethan revealed his own secret. "The Thompsons killed my parents, made it look like an accident." Serena's blood ran cold. "When?" 15 years ago. I was 17, left to raise my sister and build an empire on revenge. The cold persona, the Frost Emperor, all calculated. I needed to become someone they'd fear." He turned to her, his gray eyes burning. "Until you walked in and made me remember what it feels like to be human." Serena kissed him then, a desperate collision of lips and souls. When they broke apart, she was crying. "I can't lose you or my grandmother." "You won't." Ethan cupped her face. "Because we're going to destroy them first." They spent the night planning, but also falling deeper into something neither could name. When dawn broke, they were wrapped in each other's arms, the assassination contract burning in the fireplace. "My handler will know I've turned," Serena whispered against his chest. "Good," Ethan replied, his fingers tangled in her curls. Let them come. The mole revealed himself at the worst moment. During a board meeting about the Thompson evidence, Jasper Ethan's trusted assistant of 5 years pulled a gun. "I'm sorry, Mr. Sterling, they have my daughter." But Serena was faster. Her shot disarmed him before he could fire. "Your daughter's been safe for 3 hours," she told Jasper. "We extracted her this morning." Ethan stared at her in shock. "You knew?" "I've been investigating everyone close to you. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but I had to be sure." The board sat frozen as police led Jasper away. But the real shock came next. "There's more," Serena announced. "The Thompsons aren't working alone. Someone on this board has been feeding them information for years." She placed a folder in front of Reginald Brooks, the eldest board member. "Your offshore accounts, your meetings with Victor Thompson, your signature on the order to kill Ethan's parents." The room erupted. Brooks lunged for Ethan, a hidden knife flashing. But Ethan was ready. Years of suppressed rage fueled his movements as he disarmed the older man. "You killed them!" Ethan's voice was deadly quiet. "You sat at my table, pretended to mentor me while their blood was on your hands. Your father was going to expose everything. The whole system would have collapsed." "Good," Ethan replied as security dragged Brooks away. "It's about to anyway." That night, Ethan and Serena sat in his penthouse, the city lights below them. The Thompson empire was crumbling, arrests were being made, and Sterling Enterprises' stock was soaring. "We did it," Serena said, but her voice was sad. "What's wrong?" "This." She gestured between them. "It started with lies. How do we build something real on that foundation?" Ethan pulled her close. "We already have. You chose me over $1 million. You risked your life for mine. That's as real as it gets." "But the deception made us equals," he interrupted. "I've never met anyone who could match me, challenge me, see through me the way you do." She looked up at him, hope blooming in her amber eyes. "So what happens now?" "Now?" Ethan smiled, the first real smile she'd seen from him. "Now we stop surviving and start living. Together." Their kiss was different this time, not desperate but deep, not stolen but claimed. When they finally broke apart, Serena was smiling too. "I love you," she whispered. "Despite everything, because of everything, I love you." "I love you too," Ethan replied, the words foreign but right on his tongue. "My beautiful assassin who saved my life by refusing to take it." As dawn broke over the city, they stood together on the balcony. The Frost Emperor was truly dead, but Ethan Sterling, the man who'd learned to love through danger and deception, was finally alive. "Ready for a normal life?" Serena teased. Ethan laughed, pulling her against him. "With you? Never. But I'm ready for whatever comes next." The war with the Thompsons wasn't over, but they'd face it together. A CEO and his former assassin, bound by secrets and strengthened by truth. The greatest love stories, after all, begin with a bullet, whether it's dodged or straight to the heart. The Maldivian sunset painted the private villa in shades of gold and crimson. Serena stood on the deck, her white sundress billowing in the tropical breeze, watching dolphins play in the crystal waters. The ring on her finger caught the light, not the massive diamond one might expect from a billionaire, but an elegant band with stones from both their homelands, South African diamonds and New York sapphires. "Having second thoughts?" Ethan's voice came from behind her, warm with humor. She turned to find him leaning against the doorframe, casual in linen pants and an open shirt. 6 months had transformed him. The sharp edges remained, but they were softened now by genuine smiles and eyes that held warmth instead of calculation. "About marrying a man I once tried to kill?" She pretended to consider. "Never." He crossed to her in 3 strides, pulling her against him. "Good, because the wedding is tomorrow and I've already paid the resort." "Ever the businessman," she teased, but her eyes grew serious. "Ethan, there's something I need to tell you." His body-tensed old habits died hard. "What is it?" "My handler contacted me yesterday." The warmth vanished from his eyes, replaced by the Frost Emperor's chill. "What did they want?" "To warn me. The Thompsons' remaining associates have put a bounty on both our heads. $50 million. Ethan's laugh was unexpected. "Only 50? I'm insulted." This isn't a joke. I know. He cupped her face gently. But we've survived worse. And now we have something they don't. What's that? Each other. And an entire security team hidden around this resort. Serena's eyes widened. You knew? I've known since we arrived. Did you really think I'd bring you somewhere without ensuring your safety? He kissed her forehead. The handler was it Marcus? She nodded, surprised he knew the name. He's been feeding us information for 3 months. Turns out he has a daughter too, one who needed a heart transplant. Funny how helping people can turn enemies into allies. You paid for his daughter's surgery? We paid, Ethan corrected. With your inheritance from the Thompson assets we recovered. It seemed poetic. Serena stared at him in wonder. When did you become so good? The moment you showed me I didn't have to be cold to be strong. He pulled her closer. Now stop worrying about assassins and focus on becoming my wife. But the universe had other plans. The attack came at dawn, the day of their wedding. Serena woke to the sound of breaking glass and Ethan pushing her off the bed. Stay down! Smoke grenades filled the villa as masked figures rappelled from helicopters. But Ethan and Serena were no longer the same people from 6 months ago. They moved in perfect synchronization, him providing cover while she retrieved the weapons they'd hidden throughout the villa. Kitchen! She shouted, and they moved as one, taking down 2 attackers on the way. In the kitchen, Ethan kicked open a hidden panel revealing an arsenal. Remember our first date? He asked, tossing her a gun. When you taught me to shoot? Or when we took down those mercenaries? Both were romantic in their own way. They fought their way through the villa, their movements a deadly dance. Serena's wedding dress hung on the door, peppered with bullet holes. They ruined my dress, she growled, taking down another attacker. I'll buy you 10 more, Ethan promised, then grunted as a bullet grazed his shoulder. Ethan! I'm fine. Northwest corner. 3 hostiles. They cleared the villa room by room, working with the precision of partners who knew each other's every move. When the last attacker fell, they stood in the wreckage of their honeymoon suite, breathing hard. So much for a quiet wedding, Serena panted. Ethan pulled her into his arms, ignoring his bleeding shoulder. Marry me anyway. Now? Here? Why not? We have witnesses. He gestured to their security team, who had finally arrived. The officiant is safe in the panic room, and I'm not letting anyone else ruin our day. An hour later, as medics tended their wounds and police processed the scene, Ethan Sterling married Serena Autumn on the bullet-riddled deck of their villa. She wore tactical pants and one of his shirts. He stood shirtless with a bandaged shoulder. Their security team served as witnesses, and the ocean provided the music. Do you, Serena, take this man to be your husband, in assassination attempts and in peace, in firefights and in quiet moments till death do you part? I do, she said, tears mixing with the smoke residue on her cheeks. Do you, Ethan, take this woman to be your wife, knowing she once tried to kill you, now trusting her with your life? Till death do you part? Every day for the rest of my life, he vowed. When they kissed, the security team applauded, and somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed. Not exactly the wedding I planned, Ethan murmured against her lips. It's perfect, Serena replied. Very us. The aftermath revealed the true scope of the threat. The Thompsons had hired the Shadows, an elite assassination guild, to eliminate them both. But the attack had failed for one simple reason. The assassins had expected to face the old Ethan and Serena, a cold CEO and a lone wolf killer. Instead, they'd faced something far more dangerous. 2 people who'd learned to trust completely, to fight as one, to protect what they'd built together. The Shadows don't fail, the lead interrogator told them later. This will damage their reputation. They'll come harder next time. Let them come, Ethan said, his arm around Serena. We'll be ready. But Serena had a different idea. That night, in their temporary safe house, she presented her plan. We take the fight to them. Ethan studied the documents she'd compiled: locations, financial records, member identities. You want to destroy the Shadows? I want to give them a choice. Work for us, or cease to exist. Us? She smiled, the dangerous smile he'd fallen in love with. Sterling Security Services. We use our combined skills to protect others like us. CEOs with targets on their backs, witnesses who need protection, children of the powerful who become pawns. Turn our trauma into purpose, Ethan mused. I like it. But first, we deal with the shadows. The campaign took 3 months. They dismantled the organization piece by piece, using Ethan's resources and Serena's skills. Some members surrendered, accepting positions in their new security company. Others fought and lost. The leaders, faced with the complete destruction of their century-sold guild, finally called for a meeting. It took place in neutral territory, a yacht in international waters. Ethan and Serena faced the Shadow Council, 5 individuals whose identities were known to less than a dozen people worldwide. You've cost us everything, the eldest said. You tried to kill us on our wedding day, Serena replied coldly. Consider this mercy. What do you want? Ethan leaned forward. Dissolution of all contracts on our heads. Your networks integrated into Sterling security. Your skills used to protect rather than destroy. And if we refuse? Serena placed a tablet on the table. On it, live feeds of each council member's hidden families. We're not threatening them, she clarified quickly. We're protecting them from the enemies you've made, from the rivals who would use them against you. This is what we offer: safety for those you love, purpose beyond killing, and a chance to build rather than destroy. The council exchanged glances. They'd ruled through fear for generations, but these two had offered something else: redemption. You would trust us? One asked. No, Ethan said bluntly. But we'd give you the chance to earn trust, the same chance we gave each other. By dawn, Sterling Security Services had absorbed the world's most feared assassination guild. Former killers became protectors. The shadow network that had once spread death now saved lives. A year later, Ethan stood in his office, not the cold penthouse of Sterling Enterprises, but the warm, bustling headquarters of Sterling Security. Photos covered the walls, clients they'd saved, children reunited with parents, executives who'd survived attempts on their lives. Serena entered, and his heart still skipped at the sight of her. She moved differently now, still dangerous, but tempered with purpose. The Mumbai team just reported in, she said. Another success, that's 50 this month. 50 lives saved by people who once took them, Ethan mused. Your idea is working. Our idea, she corrected, wrapping her arms around him. Everything is ours now. He turned in her embrace, studying her face. Any regrets? About trying to kill you? About not succeeding. You could have been rich and free. Serena laughed, the sound filling the office with warmth. I am rich, and I've never been freer than I am with you. Their kiss was interrupted by an alarm. The operations center burst into activity. What is it? Ethan demanded. Priority alert, their operator reported. Attempted assassination on the Prime Minister's daughter. Local security is overwhelmed. Ethan and Serena exchanged glances, then smiled. Send in Team 7, Serena ordered, and prep the jet. We'll supervise personally. As they headed for the door, Ethan caught her hand. Ready for another adventure, Mrs. Sterling? Always, Mr. Sterling. Always. They ran toward the danger together, no longer the Frost Emperor and his assassin, but something far more powerful. Partners who'd transformed their darkness into light, their pain into purpose, their love into a force that saved lives instead of taking them. The greatest love stories, after all, begin with a bullet. But the best ones? They end with redemption, wrapped in each other's arms, changing the world one saved life at a time. The morning after meeting Evelyn, Ethan woke to find Serena already dressed, looking out his bedroom windows. She wore one of his shirts over her dress from the night before, and the morning sun made her curls shine. The sight filled his heart with love. You're thinking too loudly, he said, his voice still rough with sleep. She turned, her smile bright enough to light up the city. Good morning, Frost Emperor. That name doesn't fit anymore. He held out his hand. Come back to bed. I can't. But she sat beside him, allowing him to pull her close. Early meeting with the Thompson team. He traced patterns on her leg where his shirt had risen. Cancel it. You are a bad influence. She kissed him gently before standing up. Some of us still have to work. He grabbed her hand. Move in with me. The words hung between them, surprising them both, but Ethan felt it deep down. Ethan. Her eyes widened. I mean it. He sat up, urgency growing in his voice. I love waking up with you. I love seeing your things around here. You've made this place feel like a home. She sat back down, serious. This is a big step. Everything about us has been a big step. He tucked a curl behind her ear. And every step has been worth it. The media will go crazy, the board. I don't care. He cupped her face in his hands. I love you. Move in with me. Serena studied his face, her eyes searching for certainty. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Her smile grew like a sunrise. Yes. The kiss that followed made them both late for their morning meetings. Later, Ethan sat in his office trying to focus on reports, but his mind kept drifting to Serena's answer. His phone buzzed with a message from her. Dinner tonight. I know a place. Name it, he replied. Wear something casual and don't bring the Aston Martin. Ethan smiled, intrigued. Serena always found a way to surprise him, reminding him of the joys of life outside of work. That evening, wearing jeans and a cozy sweater that made Serena smile, Ethan followed her directions to a small Ethiopian restaurant in a quiet neighborhood. Mom, Serena said as they walked in, this place has the best Ethiopian food in the city. The owner, a woman with kind eyes and a warm smile, welcomed Serena like family. Ah, Toro, and this must be your Ethan. Ethan was suddenly pulled into a hug that felt warm and inviting. He returned the embrace with a smile. They were seated at a small table in a corner, away from the busy restaurant. Serena ordered for both of them in fluent Amharic, which surprised Ethan even more. How many languages do you speak? He asked while they waited for their food. 5 fluently, 3 conversationally, she replied with a shrug. Growing up in South Africa, learning languages helped me connect with different cultures. Ethan admired her. You're amazing, he said, reaching for her hand. Every day I learn something new about you that amazes me. A blush crossed her cheeks. Says the man who built a successful business from scratch. Their food arrived, fragrant stews and tender meat served on soft Ingera bread. Serena showed him how to eat with his hands, laughing at his first attempts. By the end of the meal, Ethan felt a growing affection not just for the food, but also for this wonderful new side of life she was sharing. There's so much life beyond those office windows, Serena said as they walked together through the neighborhood after dinner. So much beauty in the little things. Ethan pulled her close, kissing her forehead. You're helping me see it all. They stumbled upon a small jazz club where the music surrounded them like a warm embrace. Serena fit perfectly in his arms as they swayed together, her head resting against him, their hearts beating together with the rhythm of the music. Move in with me tomorrow, he whispered softly. She looked up, amused. Someone's eager. Life's too short to wait for perfect moments, he replied, spinning her around. Every moment with you feels perfect. Later that night, they were cozy in his sheets, with city lights creating patterns across them. Serena wore his shirt, casually unbuttoned. He could feel her heartbeat against his skin, a comforting rhythm. What are you thinking? She asked, gently touching his face. That I want to show you my world like you're showing me yours. He kissed her fingers. Let me take you to Paris, Rome, Tokyo, anywhere you want. Ethan, are you trying to sweep me off my feet? She teased. You seem pretty grounded. He smiled, leaning closer. It's my world that's been turned upside down. She lovingly touched his face. Good answer. Their kiss was slow and sweet, filled with hopes for the future. They relaxed together, enjoying the soft quiet. Serena's curls rested on his chest like a dark river. Outside, the city buzzed, but in their own little world, time felt still. I love you, Serena whispered softly. Ethan held her closer, his heart feeling fuller than ever. I love you more than I knew was possible. In the morning, they were still wrapped in each other, with the sunrise casting a golden glow on Serena's skin. Ethan watched Serena sleep, taking in every detail, the flutter of her eyelashes, the gentle curve of her lips, and how her hand lay on his chest. His phone buzzed with early morning calls, but today, Ethan Sterling, the CEO of a big company, let them go to voicemail. Some moments were too special to interrupt. Serena stirred and slowly opened her eyes. "You're staring," she said with a smile. "Admiring," he replied softly, kissing her gently. She stretched like a cat, making his shirt slide up. "What time is it?" she asked. "Time for breakfast," he replied, tracing patterns on her shoulder. "Or we could stay in bed all day." "Tempting," she said, propping herself up. "But I've got work to do. Remember the Thompson investigation?" Reality drifted in on their perfect morning. Still, knowing that this woman would come home to him every night filled Ethan with joy. "Shower with me," he suggested, his hands playfully moving. Serena laughed and then gasped as his touch made her shiver. "You're impossible," she teased. "Only for you." They barely made it to the office by 9, but Ethan didn't mind. The serious CEO in him would have been upset by such unprofessional conduct, but he had never known the warmth of Serena's smile or the brightness she brought to his life. As they parted in the elevator, trying to keep things professional despite their shared laughter, Serena squeezed his hand briefly. "Tonight, we'll pack my apartment," she said with a smile. Ethan's heart lifted. "I'll send movers," he suggested. "No," she shook her head. "We're doing this together, the right way." As the elevator doors closed, Ethan touched his lips, still feeling her kiss. She was right. Some experiences were worth sharing, fully and together. Ahead lay a day filled with meetings and decisions, but Ethan's thoughts returned to Serena and the life they were creating. She was helping him see the beauty in everyday moments. The cold, distant businessman was changing, replaced by a man who learned that real strength came from loving openly and freely. Meanwhile, somewhere in the building, Serena was smiling and holding the key to their new home, a symbol of their life together. They were building something unique, a love that brought warmth and connection. Tonight, they would pack her apartment together and face whatever challenges tomorrow would bring, hand in hand. The Thompson investigation was at a critical point. Just as Serena finished moving into Ethan's penthouse, everything seemed perfect, but trouble was on the horizon. Ethan stood by his office window, reading an anonymous email that had just arrived. It warned him to stop the Thompson investigation, or everyone would learn about his relationship with Serena, who had been giving him false information. His hands turned into fists. They were threatening her. The old Ethan would have calculated the risks, but now he felt only anger at the threat against Serena. His phone buzzed. "Serena, my office now." He read, "Someone's been in my files." Ethan moved quickly to her office, where he found Serena looking worried. Papers were scattered on her desk, and her computer showed signs of a break-in. "Someone's trying to undermine the investigation," she said as he closed the door behind him. "They're saying I'm a corporate spy." Ethan pulled her close, feeling her shake a little. "Let them try. We have proof." "It's not that easy," she said, pulling back to look at him. "They're threatening to tell the board." "And your reputation?" he asked. "I don't care about my reputation." He held her face gently. "I care about you." She leaned into his touch. "Ethan, they're powerful. The Thompson family knows everyone." "So do I." He kissed her forehead. "And unlike them, I have nothing to hide." Just then, a knock at the door broke the moment. Jasper came in with a large envelope. "Sir, this just arrived." Inside were pictures of Ethan and Serena together at dinner, holding hands and kissing on his balcony, along with altered financial records that suggested Serena was placed there to hurt both companies. "They've been watching us," Serena said softly, trembling as she looked at the photos. Ethan felt anger rising, but spoke calmly. "Move security to your office." "No one comes in without permission. I can manage," she insisted. "I know you can." He drew her closer. "But I can't lose you. Please let me keep you safe." She looked into his eyes and saw the worry behind his calm. "Okay, but we will face this together." That night, they returned to their penthouse, both feeling uneasy. Ethan had increased security, but the threats weighed heavily on them. When the elevator doors closed, he pulled Serena into his arms, wanting to keep her close. "I'm okay," she whispered, but her grip on his shirt told a different story. He took in her familiar scent as he buried his face in her hair. I should have seen this coming. The Thompsons won't give up easily. Serena pulled back to look at him. We knew the risks when we started this investigation. His voice turned serious. Not this. Not threats against you. She touched his face gently. Ethan, look at me. I'm not afraid of them. You should be, he argued. He took her hand and pressed it to his heart. They're desperate people with dangerous connections, but we have the truth. She smiled softly. Plus, I have the former Frost Emperor on my side. Despite his concerns, a smile crept onto Ethan's face. Former? As she started to unbutton his shirt, she added, You're definitely not ice anymore. Her touch always sparked something in him, and he caught her hands, kissing her palms. Serena, help me forget about everything else. Make me think only of you, she said. He lifted her into his arms and carried her to their bedroom. The city lights played across her skin as he gently undressed her. Her heart raced as he kissed her neck and collarbone. Ethan, she breathed, and he could feel the excitement in her voice. Every soft sound she made stirred something deep inside him. The Frost Emperor would have held back, but Ethan was ready to let go. Later, wrapped in soft sheets, Serena drew patterns on his chest. We should look at those financial records again. Ethan took her hand, kissing her fingers. Tomorrow, but for now, you're safe in my arms. That's all that matters. She propped herself up on her elbow, her curls framing her face. When did you turn into such a romantic? When a beautiful woman walked into my office and melted my defenses. He tucked a curl behind her ear. I love you, Serena Autumn. Nothing they do can change that. Her eyes softened. I love you too. More than I ever thought I could. The kiss that followed was gentle and full of care. Ethan held her as she drifted off to sleep, while his mind raced through different possibilities. He had built his business from the ground up and faced many challenges, but nothing could compare to this. Morning came quickly, bringing new problems. Another envelope arrived, this time with more details about their connection and claims of corporate spying. The board has called an emergency meeting, Jasper reported. They want to talk about the Thompson case and your connection with Miss Autumn. Ethan adjusted his tie, determination in his voice. Good. It's time they learned who really leads this company. Serena met him outside the boardroom, looking sharp in a deep purple suit. Ready? He took her hand. Together, always. The boardroom went quiet as they entered side by side. The oldest board member, Reginald Brooks, spoke first. Mr. Sterling, Miss Autumn, we have some concerns about the Thompson case and your personal life. Ethan's voice was firm. Both. Reginald slid some photos across the table. This relationship puts everything at risk. Serena stepped forward, her voice steady. The only thing at risk is the Thompson family's illegal actions. Actions we can prove. She spread documents across the table, showing the real financial records revealing years of wrongdoing. The board members leaned in, their faces changing as they took in the evidence. The Thompsons are trying to make me look bad because they can't deny the truth, she continued. They're attacking my connection with Ethan because they can't argue against my findings. Ethan stood beside her, his shoulder touching hers. My personal life is not up for discussion. However, the future of this company is in danger because of the Thompsons, the board murmured among themselves. Finally, Reginald spoke again. The evidence is strong, but your relationship is private, Ethan interjected. I care for her. That's all you need to know. Serena's hand found his under the table, squeezing gently. The media will have a lot to say, another board member cautioned. Let them. Ethan's voice left no room for debate. I built this company from nothing. I can handle a few headlines. After much discussion, the board agreed to move forward with the Thompson investigation. As they left the boardroom, Ethan pulled Serena into his private office. You were amazing, he said, standing close to her. She smiled back. Very impressive, like a true leader. He gently brushed her cheek with his thumb. And you mean more to me than anything. The moment that followed was full of relief and promise. Serena's hands found their way beneath his jacket, and she laughed softly. Ethan, she said, the board can wait. He lifted her onto his desk, papers scattering to the floor. Her laughter turned serious as he helped her with her blouse, revealing a beautiful design underneath. His resolve melted at the sight of her. Later, they lay close on the leather couch in his office. Serena wore his shirt, her hair charmingly messy. Ethan traced patterns on her bare shoulder, enjoying how perfectly they fit together. "We should probably look over those Thompson files," she whispered, making no move to get up. Ethan kissed her gently. "Probably." But first, his phone buzzed with another anonymous message. But this time, neither of them felt scared. They had faced the board together. They could handle anything. "Let them try," Serena said, glancing at the message over his shoulder. "We're stronger together," Ethan said, pulling her closer with love and determination. "The Frost Emperor may be gone, but now there's a man willing to do anything to protect what matters, and nothing is more important than you." Morning headlines shouted across all financial news outlets. Thompson family fraud exposed. Ethan stood by his office window, watching the sunrise turn the city to gold while his phone buzzed with messages from reporters, board members, and industry leaders. Yet his focus was entirely on Serena, who sat at his desk going through the final evidence they would show to the authorities. She wore a deep blue dress that seemed to make her glow, and her curls were elegantly managed in a twist. "The SEC will be here in an hour," she said, looking up to catch him staring. "You might want to focus on the presentation." Ethan smiled and moved to stand behind her chair. "I can do both." Serena leaned back against him, letting out a small sigh as his hands gently massaged her shoulders. "You're impossible," she said. "You love it," he replied, leaning down to kiss her neck. The aroma of jasmine around her made his heart race. But before the moment could last, a knock at the door interrupted them. Jasper stepped in with a stack of newspapers and a knowing smile. "Sir, Miss Autumn, the SEC team has arrived early." Ethan straightened his tie while Serena gathered the files. "Show them to the main conference room." The next few hours were filled with presentations, questions, and detailed financial reviews. Serena took charge, and her intelligence and preparation made the accuracy of their findings clear. Ethan watched her with pride as she skillfully exposed the Thompson family's wrongdoings. "The pension funds will be safe?" one SEC investigator asked. "Absolutely," Serena assured them. "We've secured the assets and made a plan for full restitution." After the SEC team left, promising quick action, Ethan pulled Serena into his private office. "You were incredible." She smiled at him, her eyes shining with success. "We did it. We really did it." "You did this," Ethan said, cupping her face in his hands. "You protected thousands of people's futures. You took down one of the most powerful families in the country." "We did it together," she replied, rising on her tiptoes to give him a gentle kiss. Ethan smiled at her teasing tone. Just then, his phone buzzed with a message from Victor Thompson. "You'll regret this, both of you." Serena read it over his shoulder, tensing up. "They won't go down quietly." "Let them make noise," Ethan said as he deleted the message. "We have the truth and each other." She studied his face. "You're really not worried about the Thompsons?" "No," he said, pulling her closer. "I'm worried about losing you." Her eyes softened. "You're not going to lose me." He buried his face in her hair, breathing her in. "Promise." "Promise," she echoed, pulling back to look at him, her hands on his face. "I love you, you impossible man. Nothing the Thompsons or anyone else does can change that." The kiss that followed was deep and full of relief and celebration. Ethan lifted her onto his desk, papers scattering to the floor. Serena quickly worked on his tie and jacket while he helped her with her dress. "Here," she gasped with excitement as their moment deepened. "Here." He gently slid the dress off her shoulders, revealing a beautiful midnight blue lace. Now her laughter softened as his hands and lips explored familiar places. He could hear her heartbeat and feel her shivers as she leaned into him. The Frost Emperor would have stayed composed, but Ethan was tired of waiting. Much later, they lay comfortably together on the leather couch in his office. Serena wore his shirt, her curls playfully messy. Ethan traced shapes on her shoulder, amazed at how well they matched. "We should probably get back to work," she whispered, not making any move to stand up. Probably. He kissed her forehead. Or we could celebrate. She lifted herself on her elbow, looking into his eyes. What do you have in mind? Paris, he said, tucking a curl behind her ear. Rome. Anywhere you want to go. Let me show you the world outside of work. Serena's eyes brightened. Really? You would take time off for us? He smiled and kissed her softly. I'd do anything for you. They were interrupted by another knock. Jasper again. Sir, the board is asking for an urgent meeting, Jasper said. Ethan sighed against Serena's lips. Tell them 1 hour. After Jasper left, Serena began to put on her clothes. They'll want to discuss damage control. Let them. Ethan watched her dress, already missing the comfort of closeness. We did the right thing. She buttoned her dress and straightened his tie. The right thing isn't always the easy thing. Nothing worth having ever is, he replied, taking her hands and pressing them to his heart. But you make everything worthwhile. The board meeting was tense but ultimately supportive. The evidence against the Thompsons is clear, said Reginald Brooks as the meeting ended. The board owes you an apology, Miss Autumn. Your relationship with Mr. Sterling had no effect on your great work. Sedina smiled graciously. Thank you, Mr. Brooks. I believe our partnership has made us better at our jobs. Ethan squeezed her hand under the table, feeling pride and love. That night they celebrated properly at home. Ethan had arranged for their favorite chef to prepare a private dinner on their balcony. Candles danced in the evening breeze as they toasted to their success. To bringing down the bad guys, Serena said, lifting her glass. To us, Ethan replied, tapping his glass against hers. She set down her glass and moved to sit in his lap. To love warming the coldest hearts. Their kiss was sweet and victorious. Ethan stood, lifting her as he carried her to their bedroom, leaving dinner behind. City lights painted soft patterns across her skin as he held her closely. Her heart raced beneath his kisses along her neck and collarbone. Each sound she made filled him with joy. I love you, he whispered. Show me, she urged, pulling him nearer. Hours later, they lay peacefully together, wrapped in soft sheets. Serena traced his face with gentle fingers. What are you thinking? She asked. Ethan held her hand and kissed her palm. That I'm the luckiest man in the world, she smiled softly. Because we brought down a criminal empire? Because I found you? He pulled her even closer. Everything else is just details. As they settled down to sleep, Ethan held Serena close, amazed at how much she had changed his life. The Thompson investigation had put them to the test, but instead of breaking them, it had made them stronger. The person he used to be was gone, and he learned that true strength comes from being brave enough to love fully and without holding back. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight, Ethan felt complete with Serena by his side. The rest of the world could wait for now. Meanwhile, in a prison cell, Victor Thompson was realizing that some things can't be bought or threatened. Love, truth, and justice are more powerful than all his wealth. The truth had come out, and with it, a timeless love story. The Frost Emperor had found his queen, and together they were unstoppable. The morning sun shone through the penthouse windows as Ethan adjusted his tie for the 10th time. Today was significant. His sister Nora was coming to meet Serena. After their parents passed away, Nora was his only family, and her opinion meant the world to him. Stop fidgeting, Serena said as she came up behind him, wearing a lovely sundress that brightened the room. She'll love you, Ethan said, turning to pull her close. Everyone loves you. That's not what I'm worried about, he admitted. Then what? Nora knows me better than anyone. She'll tell you all my secrets. Serena laughed. Good. I want to know everything about the man behind the Frost Emperor mask. Just then, the elevator chimed, quickening Ethan's heartbeat. Nora Sterling entered the penthouse with energy, her dark hair flowing and her smile radiant. She hugged Ethan tightly before turning to Serena, who had brought warmth back to Ethan's life. Before Serena could say anything, Nora embraced her too. Thank you for bringing him back to life, Nora said, brushing aside Ethan's attempt to speak. You should have seen him before. Nora continued, linking arms with Serena and guiding her to the living room. He only worked, never had fun, and was always frowning. Serena glanced back at Ethan with a playful look. Do tell. The next few hours flew by with stories. Nora shared memories of their childhood, Ethan's early days building his company, and how he had closed himself off after their parents passed away. In return, Serena shared her own family tales, memories of growing up in South Africa, and her grandmother's wisdom. He smiles now, Nora noticed, watching how Ethan looked at Serena. Real smiles, not the business ones he used to wear. He has a beautiful smile, Serena said, reaching for his hand. Nora then turned to Serena with a serious expression. You're not afraid of his power or reputation. You see him? I see him, Serena replied softly. And I love everything I see. Ethan pulled her closer, kissing her forehead gently. Nora looked at them, her eyes filling with tears. Mom and Dad would have loved you, she told Serena. They always wanted Ethan to find someone who could match him, challenge him, and love him for who he is, beyond his success. The mention of their parents made Ethan's throat tighten. Serena squeezed his hand, offering quiet support. Tell me about them, she asked gently. Nora spent the next hour sharing memories of their parents, his father's determination, his mother's kindness, and the love that filled their home before the tragedy. Ethan listened quietly, but he never let go of Serena's hand. Enough sad memories, Nora finally said. Let's celebrate, Ethan. Get that fancy champagne you love, Ethan said. As he walked to the wine cellar, he heard Nora's voice soften. Thank you for loving him, for bringing him back to life. He brought me to life too, Serena replied gently. He sees me for who I am, not just my looks or where I come from. That's my brother, Nora said with pride. When he lets someone in, his love is whole. Ethan returned with the champagne and found the two most important women in his life laughing together like close friends. His heart felt so full. Later, after Nora left with promises to visit soon, Ethan found Serena on their balcony watching the sunset. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, breathing in her familiar scent. Thank you, he whispered in her hair. For what? For being you? For loving me? For making my sister happier than I've seen her in years, she said gently. Serena turned to face him, reaching up to touch his face. I love seeing this side of you, the brother, the son, the man beyond the CEO. Ethan caught her hand and pressed it to his heart. You see all of me, and I want all of you. She stood on her tiptoes and kissed him softly. Every version, every story, every scar. The kiss grew deeper, a spark igniting between them. Ethan lifted her into his arms and took her to their bedroom, where the sunset wrapped her in warm light. Ethan, she breathed as he kissed her neck. He could feel her heart race and the warmth of her body against him. The Frost Emperor would have kept his distance, but Ethan was ready to let go. Later, wrapped in soft sheets, Serena traced patterns on his chest. Nora showed me photos of your parents. Ethan tensed a little, but forced himself to relax. You have your father's determination and your mother's heart. She looked at him intently. They would be proud of who you've become. Tears filled his eyes. Because of you, you helped me feel again. Serena kissed him gently. You always knew how. You just needed someone to remind you it was safe. They embraced again, this time more slowly, filled with tenderness and healing. Ethan poured all his love and gratitude into every touch and every kiss. Serena responded with love, moving with him in perfect harmony. Morning came, and they were still wrapped together, the sunrise creating patterns on their skin. Ethan watched Serena sleep, his heart full of love and hope. Nora had been right, his parents would have loved her. They would have seen the incredible strength and beauty in her that had softened his heart. As Serena stirred, her eyes slowly opening, Ethan felt certain she was his future. The Frost Emperor's empire meant nothing compared to the life they were building together, a life of love, trust, and family. What are you thinking? She asked, her voice still soft with sleep. Ethan pulled her closer, kissing her forehead. that I want to spend my life with you." Serena's eyes widened as she took in his words. Ethan, not a proposal. Not yet. He tucked a curl behind her ear. But soon, when the time is right, when I can give you the moment you deserve. She smiled, the bright smile that had first melted his heart. I don't need grand gestures or perfect moments. I just need you. You have me, he said, kissing her softly, completely. As they lay there dreaming of their future in whispers and gentle touches, Ethan felt truly at peace. The Frost Emperor was gone, replaced by a man who had found not just love, but family, connection, and joy. And it was all because of the special woman in his arms who had come into his life and changed everything. The world could wait. This moment was perfect just as it was. The call came at 3 o'clock in the morning. Ethan woke up to see Serena sitting up in bed, her phone pressed to her ear, her face pale in the moonlight. "I'll be there as soon as I can," she said, her voice shaking. "Just keep her comfortable." Ethan sat up and wrapped his arms around her. "What's wrong?" he asked. "My grandmother," she said, tears shining in her eyes. "She's in the hospital in Cape Town. They're not sure." "I'll have the jet ready in an hour," he said quickly. "Wait, Ethan. You have the merger negotiations." "They can wait," he replied, already reaching for his phone. "Family can't." Within the hour, they were on his private jet heading for South Africa. Serena wore one of his sweaters over her travel clothes, looking small and fragile in a way he had never seen before. Ethan held her close as she allowed herself to cry finally. "She raised me after my parents died," she whispered against his chest. "She's everything to me." "She's everything to me, too," he said softly, kissing her forehead. "Try to rest, love. We'll be there soon." But neither of them slept. As the sun rose over the ocean, Serena shared stories about her grandmother, how she encouraged Serena's education, supported her dreams, and taught her to be proud of who she was. "She's the one who told me never to let anyone intimidate me," she said with a small smile. "Even the Frost Emperors," Ethan teased, making her chuckle. They landed in Cape Town as the sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful golds and purples. A car was waiting to take them directly to the hospital, where they found Evelyn Autumn in a private room looking weak, but still dignified. "Ah, my beautiful girl and her Ethan," she said when they entered. Serena rushed to her grandmother's side while Ethan stepped back, giving them space. He watched as they spoke in their native language, their love for each other clear in every word and gesture. Finally, Evelyn motioned for him to come closer. "Come here, young man. Let me see you properly," she said. Ethan took her hand, surprised by how strong her grip still was. "Ma'am, you dropped everything to bring my granddaughter home," she said, her eyes sharp despite her condition. "That tells me everything I need to know about you." "I love her," Ethan replied simply. "Her family is my family." Evelyn smiled. "Good answer. Now help an old woman sit up. I want to tell you both something." Once she was sitting comfortably, Evelyn held their hands. "The doctors say it's my heart. They want to operate, but the risks—" "Nana, please," Serena started, but Evelyn shushed her. "Let me finish. I've lived a good life, my darling. I've watched you grow into an amazing woman. I've seen you find a love that is strong and true." She squeezed Ethan's hand. "Whatever happens, I am at peace." Tears fell down Serena's cheeks. "I need you, Nana." "You have everything you need right here," Evelyn said, touching Serena's heart. "And here," she gestured towards Ethan. "Let them operate. I'm not done watching your story unfold." The next 24 hours passed in a blur of doctors, conversations, and preparations. Ethan used all his contacts to make sure Evelyn had the best surgical team available. He kept holding Serena through her tears, her fears, and her hopes. As they waited during the surgery, Serena paced the private waiting room he had arranged. "Tell me about your parents," she suddenly said, "about losing them." Ethan's heart tightened, but he understood why she needed to know. It was sudden. A car accident. One moment she was there. The next, she came to sit beside him and took his hand. "How did you handle it?" he asked. "I didn't really. she replied. He gently moved his fingers over her palm. I focused on taking care of Nora and building the company. It was easier than feeling anything until now. He pulled her closer until she walked into my office and made me feel everything. She buried her face in his neck, taking in his familiar scent. I can't lose her, Ethan. You won't, he assured her, kissing her hair. Your grandmother is strong like you. She'll get through this. Ethan ordered food that neither of them could eat. He worked on calls and emails with one hand, while his other hand held onto Serena's. Finally, the surgeon came to see them. The operation went well. Your grandmother is strong. Serena leaned against Ethan, crying with relief. He held her tight, feeling his own eyes tear up from gratitude. They spent the next week in Cape Town, balancing their time between the hospital and Serena's childhood home. Ethan worked from afar, managing business talks through video calls while Serena supported her grandmother's recovery. One evening, he found them on the porch talking softly. The setting sun made Serena's skin shine, and it filled his heart with love. "Join us, Ethan," Evelyn called. "Come watch the sunset with your family." Family? The word made him emotional as he sat next to Serena and pulled her close. "I was just telling Nana about Nora," she said, cuddling into him. "Yes, your sister," Evelyn smiled. "She must visit next time. We'll have a real family get-together." The kindness in her words made Ethan's heart feel so full. I would love that. Later that night in Serena's old bedroom, Ethan held her close as she cried not tears of sadness but of relief and joy. "Thank you," she whispered against him, "for everything." He gently lifted her chin to meet his eyes. "Thank you for sharing your family with me, for letting me be part of this." Their kiss was soft at first, then grew warmer as love and relief filled them both. Ethan moved slowly, showing care as he held her close. "Ethan," she breathed as he kissed her neck. He felt her heart race, and laughter bubbled up as the bed creaked slightly. "Shh," Serena said, pulling him closer. "Nana's room is right next to us." The need to be quiet made everything feel more special. Each touch and kiss felt deeper, but their feelings could not be held back. Later, wrapped in sheets that smelled sunny and fresh, Serena traced patterns on his chest. "I love you, Ethan Sterling." He took her hand and pressed it close to his heart. "I love you, Serena Autumn, more than I ever thought possible." She propped herself up, looking at him in the moonlight. "When did you know this was real?" she asked. "The moment you walked into my office," he said. "But I think I fell for you the first time you challenged me and showed me that there's more to life than just control." She smiled, that lovely smile that still made his heart skip. "Only for you." He leaned in for another kiss. "Always for you." The next morning, they found Evelyn already on the porch, sipping tea and watching the sunrise. She patted the seats next to her without looking. "Young love," she remarked with a knowing smile. "It's beautiful to witness." Serena blushed, but Ethan just smiled and pulled her close. "Not so young, ma'am. Just right." Evelyn's eyes sparkled. "Indeed. Now when can I expect grandchildren?" "Nana?" Serena protested while Ethan laughed. "Soon," he promised, earning a playful poke from Serena. "When the time is right." As the African sun rose, filling the world with gold, Ethan held Serena close and felt grateful for their connection. The Frost Emperor was gone, replaced by a man who learned that true strength comes from love and family. In this moment, everything felt perfect and whole. The world could wait. He had everything he needed right there. The African sunrise filled the sky with brilliant gold and purple colors. Ethan stood on the balcony of their hotel suite in Cape Town, enjoying this special time after Evelyn's recovery. He wanted to learn about Serena's life, to understand the places and people that shaped her into the woman he loved. Warm arms wrapped around him from behind. "You're up early," she said. He turned to pull Serena closer, captivated by her beauty as she wore his shirt, her hair tousled from sleep. "I have a surprise for you," he said, kissing her softly. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity. "What kind of surprise?" "Get dressed in something comfortable for walking." An hour later, they stood at the base of Table Mountain, As the morning fog lifted, Serena's eyes widened in surprise as she understood his plan. "We're hiking up?" Ethan smiled. "Your grandmother said this was your favorite spot where you came to think and dream." Tears filled her eyes. "You remembered." "I remember everything about you," he replied, taking her hand. "Show me your mountain." The climb was tough, but Serena knew all the paths and shortcuts. As they went up, she shared stories of her childhood and the day she decided to take on the corporate world. "I used to stand at the top and dream about being in buildings like yours," she said as they neared the summit. "And now here you are." Ethan pulled her close, both of them out of breath from the climb. "The man who owns those buildings is mine," she teased. Their kiss felt full of warmth and hope. When they finally reached the top, the view amazed Ethan. Cape Town lay beneath them, with the ocean stretching into the distance. "Now you see why I love it," Serena said, watching his reaction. "It's magnificent." He wrapped his arms around her. They spent hours at the summit, enjoying a picnic he had prepared, talking about everything and nothing. Ethan felt a peaceful joy settle over him, a warmth he had only known since Serena came into his life. Near the top, they found a quiet spot where they could look out over the city. Ethan pulled Serena into his lap, resting against him, both of them breathless from the climb. "I used to sit here for hours," she said, playing with his fingers and watching the clouds, imagining my future. "And now?" He pressed a kiss to her shoulder. "Now I know my future is wherever you are." His words sparked something deep in him. With a heart full of determination, he gently moved her onto the ground and knelt before her. "Marry me," he said, feeling more nervous than he ever did during any business deal. Serena's eyes widened, sparkling with unshed tears. "Ethan, I know we haven't been together long," he said, taking her hands into his. "But I've felt more, lived more since meeting you than in all the years before. You came into my life and softened the walls I had built. You showed me that true strength comes from love and trust." A tear rolled down her cheek as he spoke from the heart, gently brushing his thumbs across her wrists. "You see the real me beneath the surface. You challenge me, support me, and love me just as I am, while inspiring me to be better. I don't have a ring right now, but I have my mother's at home. Still, this moment on your mountain, in your beautiful world, feels just right." "It is perfect," she whispered. "I want to build a life with you, share everything and face whatever comes next together." He kissed her hands, feeling the salt of her tears on his skin. "Marry me, my love. Make me the happiest man in both our lives." Serena pulled him to his feet, holding his face in her hands. Their eyes sparkled with warmth and connection, two souls that had found what was missing. "Yes," she breathed against his lips 1,000 times. "Yes." The kiss that followed was full of joy, hope, and longing. Ethan lifted her off her feet, spinning them as their laughter filled the air. When he set her down, her eyes were bright with desire. "Take me home," she whispered. They barely made it back to their hotel, hands exploring during the drive, kisses shared at stoplights. In the elevator, Ethan gently leaned Serena against the wall, kissing her softly in a spot that made her gasp. The door had just closed when their clothes began to come off. Ethan took his time, appreciating every part of her with gentle kisses. Serena sighed happily as he kissed down her neck. Her heart raced with excitement beneath his touch. The afternoon sun danced across her glowing skin as she leaned into him, his name a soft whisper on her lips. "I love you," she said, happiness washing over her. "I love you more than anything," he replied against her skin. They shared sweet moments slowly, then again with an urgency that spoke of their love. Each touch was a promise, every kiss an expression of what they felt. Later, as the sunset painted the sky with vibrant colors, they lay wrapped in soft sheets, Serena tracing shapes on Ethan's chest while he played with her hair. "We should call our families," she said softly, kissing his shoulder. Ethan reached for his phone, calling Nora first. His sister's joy was so loud it might have been heard across the world. Finally, Nordy exclaimed, "I was wondering when you'd make it official. Did you use your mom's ring?" "Not yet." Ethan admitted. It was a surprise proposal on Table Mountain. Even better, Nora said. More romantic that way. Oh, Ethan, I'm so happy for both of you. Next, they called Evelyn. Serena's grandmother was calm in her joy. I knew from the first time I met him, she told Serena and Joseph, then turned to English for Ethan's sake. Welcome to the family, my son. They spent the evening celebrating with Evelyn at her home, where she made a traditional engagement feast. This simple family dinner meant more to Ethan than any grand celebration ever had. After dinner, Evelyn took Ethan aside while Serena was in the kitchen. You've brought happiness back to her eyes, Evelyn said gently. The same brightness I saw in her mother's eyes when she met her father. You've brightened my whole world, Ethan replied sincerely. Evelyn smiled and patted his cheek. Then you truly understand love. That night, back in their hotel suite, Ethan held Serena close on the balcony as they watched the stars appear over Table Mountain. Happy? He asked, kissing her forehead. Absolutely, she said, turning to face him. You've made my dreams come true and given me new ones to cherish. He picked her up and carried her to their bed. Their time together was full of love, a true celebration of what they felt for each other. Ethan took his time, carefully showing his affection. Serena's reactions made his heart sing. He felt her heartbeat quicken as he kissed her softly. He noticed her cheeks turn pink, and while he normally kept his cool, today was different. He let go of all restraint and embraced their shared passion. When the morning arrived, they were still wrapped up in each other's arms, feeling content and at ease. Serena gently touched his face and asked, "What are you thinking?" He held her hand and kissed her palm, thinking about how lucky he felt to have her in his life. She smiled, her beautiful smile making his heart flutter. We've shared so much already, and this is just the start. The beginning of forever, he agreed, pulling her in for another kiss. They spent their last day in Cape Town planning their wedding and dreaming about their future together. They would combine their worlds just like they had merged their hearts, creating something special and wonderful. As they flew away the next day, he held Serena's hand, watching the beautiful landscape fade away. The Frost Emperor came to Africa for work, he said, but he's leaving as a man in love. Are you ready to start our next adventure? She asked, squeezing his hand. He kissed her gently, feeling ready for anything with her by his side. The future lay ahead, full of new opportunities. No matter what came, they would face it together. The Frost Emperor and his queen, united by a love that broke down barriers and created connections. Their journey began in a New York office, but it would continue across countries and cultures through their lives, because when two different worlds come together at just the right moment, what happens is not chaos, but change. It's love. It's forever. The South African morning was bright and clear, perfect for a wedding that would join their two worlds. Ethan stood by the window of his suite, already dressed in his tuxedo, watching the last details being set up in the garden below. They had chosen to marry at an old wine estate outside Cape Town, where the classic buildings blended beautifully with the stunning African scenery, just like their love story. A perfect mix of different worlds. A knock on the door brought in Nora, who was already feeling emotional. Ready to see your bride? Ethan's heart raced. Is she? She's beautiful. Nora fixed his tie and mentioned that Serena was asking for him. He found Serena in her room, standing in front of a mirror. The sight of her took his breath away. Her wedding dress was a beautiful creation of ivory silk and lace, honoring their different cultures. Her hair was decorated with traditional African beads that sparkled in the morning light. You're not supposed to see me before the ceremony, she said, looking at him through the mirror. Since when do we follow all the rules? He stepped behind her and placed his hands on her waist. You're stunning. She turned to face him, careful with her dress. I couldn't wait. I needed this moment just for us before we share it with everyone. Ethan gently traced her cheek with his thumb, knowing without a doubt that he wanted to marry her. Never, she said, leaning into his touch. Besides, you're not cold anymore. You bring warmth and light and love. He kissed her gently, making sure not to mess up her makeup. Everything had changed because of her. A knock interrupted them. Evelyn, dressed beautifully in traditional African clothing, came in. There will be time for that later. Now, let us finish making my granddaughter even more beautiful." Ethan kissed Serena once more and went to take his place at the altar they had set up in the garden. Guests were already seated, a mix of business leaders and African royalty, all there to celebrate their love. The ceremony included both of their cultures. Traditional African drums started playing, their rhythm matching Ethan's heartbeat as he waited for Serena. When she walked in on her grandmother's arm, it felt like time stopped. She radiated joy in the sunlight, her smile shining bright. Tears filled Ethan's eyes as she approached him. Their vows came from the heart, not from a piece of paper. "Serena," Ethan began, his voice full of emotion. "Before you came into my office, I was cold and alone. You melted the walls around me. You showed me that real strength comes from connection and love. You challenge me, support me, and inspire me to be better. I promise to spend my life showing you how much you have changed my world." Tears sparkled in Serena's eyes as she replied, "Ethan, my incredible man, you see beyond my surface to my true self. You match my passion with your warmth. I promise to keep challenging you, supporting you, and loving you just as you are while helping you grow. You're not cold anymore. You're simply my heart." They exchanged rings. His was a simple platinum band, and hers was a family heirloom he had reset with African diamonds. Their kiss was tender and deep, sealing their vows with love. The reception was a joyful celebration of their two worlds coming together. African drums mixed with classical music. Dancers performed traditional routines alongside modern acts. Tables overflowed with food from both cultures, and wine flowed freely. As the sun set, Ethan took Serena away from the party to a quiet terrace. "Happy Mrs. Sterling," he said with delight. She wrapped her arms around his neck. "But I'm keeping my name professionally. I don't want anyone thinking I got to this position without hard work." He laughed, pulling her closer. "Anyone who knows you would never think that. You're the most brilliant person I know." She kissed him softly and said, "I love you, Ethan Sterling." "I love you, Serena Autumn Sterling," he replied, resting his forehead against hers, ready to begin their journey together. Instead of words, she kissed him deeply, igniting their usual spark. "We have guests," she said, a little breathless, as he kissed her neck. "They won't notice if we're gone for a moment." He started to work on the buttons of her dress. They barely made it to their honeymoon suite, leaving traces of their wedding attire behind. Ethan took his time, enjoying every moment. "You're beautiful," he whispered in awe. Serena's heart raced at his touch. Each sigh and whisper of his name filled the air with excitement. Ethan had decided to let go of control. Later, they lay wrapped in soft sheets, Serena's head resting on his chest, his fingers playing with her hair. Outside, the sounds of celebration filled the air, but in their little world, time seemed to stand still. "What are you thinking?" she asked, planting a soft kiss on his shoulder. Ethan pulled her closer, amazed at how well they fit together. "That I never want this night to end." "It doesn't have to," she replied, lifting herself up to look at him. "We have forever." The kiss they shared was gentle, filled with hopes for the future. They embraced again as the moon rose. This time they took their time, enjoying every touch, every taste, every moment together. In the morning, they found themselves on their private terrace, wrapped in robes, watching the sun rise over Africa. Soon their families would join them for breakfast. But for now, it was just the two of them, the former Frost Emperor and the woman who had warmed his heart. "Ready for our honeymoon?" Ethan asked, kissing her forehead. Serena smiled, her bright smile still making his heart race. 2 weeks in the Maldives, then Paris, then anywhere we want. I can't wait." "We could stay here," he suggested, half joking. "Build our life in Africa." "Well, we can build our life anywhere," she replied, turning in his arms. "New York, Cape Town, wherever we want to be together." As their families arrived for breakfast, Ethan held Serena close, grateful for the chance meeting that brought her into his life. The Frost Emperor was truly gone, replaced by a man who had learned that real strength comes from loving deeply and completely. Their story began with a merger investigation, but had grown into something greater. 2 worlds joined together. Ice had melted into warmth, and their love was stronger than any business deal. The future was full of possibilities, and no matter what came next, they would face it together. The Frost Emperor had found his queen, and their journey was just starting. Forever had never seemed so beautiful. In quiet moments when doubts arise, remember that love has the power to conquer fear. Like a flower that blooms through stone, your spirit can thrive where faith has taken root. Each sunrise brings the promise of dreams taking flight, and each sunset reminds us to cherish our love. Through challenges and joy, true hearts continue to beat softly. Let kindness flow from your heart every day, brightening the path for others. For love grows stronger with each small act of care, becoming the light the world truly needs. Remember, dear ones, as you journey through life, that sharing your burdens makes them lighter. The hand you offer, the smile you share, creates ripples of hope, helping others to live better. So stand tall and proud with your heart open and true. The greatest magic of love lives within you. Each step you take, each dream you pursue, weaves threads of gold in the love that we share.